dad that kind of tells about his life, and then Chloe's going to say something, and then Rick's going to speak for a minute. So here it goes. In just a second. Okay. Melvin H. Lewis was born in 1936, down in Mississippi, way back in the sticks. The H has been a mystery, and I'm sure you would agree. What was thought to be Harold, Harrison it turned out to be. Melvin was born to Melvin Sr. and Alice, and they lived a life so small, with David and Dorothy, till life threw a curveball. Melvin Sr. died duck hunting one day, and after that, Frank Jenkins came to stay. Now, Frank had a brother, and he had a son. I'm not sure, though, if he was the only one. But back to this son, and I'm not trying to be witty, but he sure enough was Mr. Conway Twitty. Frank and Alice brought James, Shirley, Faye, Peggy, and Claude home to stay. And then one day, Frank went away. Word is that Frank was a mean old man, and one time Melvin even chased him with a gun in his hand. Now Alice went on to marry Pawpaw Willie, and we always thought he was a dilly. Half Cherokee Indian he was said to be, and oh how he loved his family and me. Now back to my dad, you really must know how when he was in the Army, he went to Elvis's house where he was putting on a show. My dad married Kathy in 1973, and from that marriage came wonderful me. My siblings, though, they cannot be forgotten, and well, Brenda, Peanut, Diane, Harold, Beverly, and Frankie, they just might say I'm rotten. Jump forward to now, and the family has grown. 19 grandchildren and 21 great-grandchildren, at least that's what we know. Fredericktown, Missouri was where they lived for 40 years. He worked at Madison County Wood Products, where he had no fears. Fishing was something he loved to do, and he loved going country dancing where he'd cut a rug or two. A can of tobacco always had to be close by, and the wrestling he watched on TV, it's all real and not a lie. Melvin was a friendly man and would give anyone a helping hand. He never arrived late and was always ahead of what was planned, at least an hour, if not sometimes a day, early. His opinions were hard and his beliefs were strong, and he sure would let you know when something was wrong. In 2014, Melvin and Kathy moved out of state. To Illinois they came. This was their fate. To be close to Melanie so she could take care of them. For everyone involved, this was a situation of win-win. Dad would drive Mom all over town, and though he would complain, he wouldn't be wearing a frown. Cozy Cafe, the garden, and China Walk was where he liked to eat, and oh how he enjoyed his neighbors he got to meet. Feeding the neighborhood cats and dogs brought a smile to his face, and oh how they are missing him now at that place. The last 8 years he had no animals of his own, but often went to see Chester and Daisy at Melanie's home. He looked forward to seeing the shear girls, and he loved to aggravate them, but in his eyes they were all his gems. Though the last month of his life he spent at Montgomery Nursing and Rehab, his life sure wasn't a place of drab. He made friends with the nurses and most of the staff, and he made sure to give them all a good laugh. Today, 86 is what Melvin would be, and in heaven I'm sure there is no sadness and only glee. Today he celebrates once again with all those he loved who made it there before him. The thing I will miss most hearing my dad say, "Won't be I love you, where's my Pepsi, is Chris in town today?" But simply, good day. And now I think Chloe has a little story she wants to share.
I thought my other two sisters were going to say something too, but they didn't. Growing up, we always made special trips to Fredericktown to visit my mama and papa. And then they moved to Hillsboro. And a few years later, I moved to Missouri for school. When I visited my mom's parents while home on breaks, Papa always asked when I would be headed back to school. I remember last year when I was home for winter break, my Papa kept asking if I would still be in Illinois on January 15th, his birthday. So on January 15th last year, I was at his house, and we were both wearing party hats. I'm so grateful that I got to spend this winter break by his side too. My major at SEMO is closely related to child development, so simple things like spelling, manners, and innocent, funny stories excite me, so that's how I decided to deliver these words today. Here's some spelling for you. M-E-L-V-I-N, Melvin, my pawpaw. M-E-L-A-N-I-E, Melanie, my mom. And lastly, M-E-L-E-N-A, Melina, my middle name. It was decided for me at birth that I would have a part of him with me. Now here's some more spelling. G-O-O-D-D-A-Y, good day. My papa's famous goodbye. 20 years after having a part of his name, I decided that I needed this phrase as a part of me too, and got it tattooed on my left ankle. Melanie wasn't too happy then, and she still probably wishes I just would have gotten a necklace or something. But I really can't say that I'm too sorry about it. On Christmas Day, Papa told me good day one last time as I was leaving the nursing home. So next is manners. Papa had them to an extent. He was ornery, but he sure was sweet too. Papa liked to poke my arms and belly, and even pinched my love handles when hugging me. But don't worry, poking fun was what we did with each other, which leads to a funny story. My papa had a big belly that poked out kind of like he was a pregnant lady. On one visit home, I jokingly asked when he was due with his baby, and he responded with, "It's not a baby, it's a giraffe." He told me that he was going to have to cut a circle out of the ceiling in his garage for that giraffe to stay in. A few months later, when I was back home visiting, Papa said, "I haven't cut that hole yet." And I said, "What hole?" And looking at his belly, he said, "For this giraffe." Papa started to get older and a bit slower, but he never lost his orneriness, wit, or the love that he had for his cheer girls. And with a part of his name, his phrase on my body, and all the funny stories that I have of him, I'll never lose the love that I have for my Papa.